Close off Pal Worlds. Sorry, Pal Worlds. Get my upland over here. Get it open. Boom, there it is. Welcome in the Cafe Nightly Show. I guess I hit the play button a little early. We're here and we're live. Welcome to the Cafe Nightly Show. Today is the 7th of February, 2024, and it is a day of delivery here, the day of sale on the Monster Bundles. We talked about the announcement yesterday. We talked about some of the holes in the announcement, what we didn't know, what we wanted to know, and some of those holes still remain. We can talk about what happened as it happened for the sale. We did have some pretty good sell-throughs, so we'll get into that. We have a lot of questions, but we also know what we know so far. So we'll look back at the bundle sale, both from the standpoint of knowing what the sale happened as of today, knowing what prices were, knowing that we're now going to move to the secondary market because the bundle sales already happened, and then look at the what comes next question, which doesn't have clear answers, but we'll get into that. We do know that we are headed into the big game weekend. Thursday through Saturday is going to be the capture period, the time for burning to get points gain entries into the big game version, the end of the season here for that burn for replicas leaderboard. So that is kicking off tomorrow, Thursday. So we'll review and remind people about that, and give them some caveats and some little details to keep in mind with the legits burn. And then otherwise, we are headed, as we said yesterday, we are headed into the very end of the cycles. If you started on time, if you started 3-4 days in, like I did on a couple of my totems, we are going to be headed into the end over the next several days. So we'll just touch base on that and remind people that we don't know what's happening next for next cycle, but we'll put some speculation out there and some thoughts. So kick things off right up front. Obviously, the key thing, all these opinions expressed by myself or mine and mine alone shouldn't be taken as game strategy or financial advice. Good to see you, dopest crew. Anything that I do say throughout the show obviously does not represent the game of the team of Upland. I always do like to let people know, even if I'm putting some opinion out there, some speculation or some context. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, how to spend your money in the game of Uplex. Again, not game strategy advice, not financial advice. Getting things kicked off again, let's take a look at that announcement. With the announcement from yesterday, some parts of the announcement are toast, kaput. They've already happened. We've already had the start of the sale here, the sale happening today on the Monster Mayhem bundles, but there's some pieces here, obviously with secondary sales, obviously with what counts, what doesn't count for entry into a gated sale. There's a lot of things we're still questioning, or people are still questioning, working on. So let's make sure we touch those details as they sit, with some reminders and some overviews of what happened today or how things went with that sale. So first and foremost, sale is over. Sale happened today. Here it is. If you're on the YouTube, take a look, feast your eyes. There's a monster. There's a bunch of them in cards. Monsters Mayhem Madness. Unleash the Beast. Again, we talked about this yesterday. This is a Upland property. There's no partnership here. Upland design property. Again, electrifying opportunity. Monster Mayhem bundle sale. Thrilling edition. Exclusive chance. Again, the bold words there from Upland. So the bundle was 1 Block Explorer. Here's the Block Explorers if you're on YouTube, and 1 map asset. Again, each bundle had 1 of each. With those Block Explorers, they're cool, wonderful. You got a Block Explorer. With the map assets are actually going to be used in a screenshot or in a capture in a shot, snapshot. In that snapshot, when Upland does do it, that snapshot is being done for who gets to have a chance to buy some carts. The key things on these carts right here, look at those. The key things on those cards is that they are built around this premise of a burn. With there being a premise of a burn, We are looking at, people collecting, people buying, people trying to get the right ones, not just three of the same. They have to get one of each. So that is something that people are going to be looking forward to. And ultimately, it's part of the controversy because we don't yet know what the cost is going to be for the carts. It was something that we saw in the announcement yesterday. It's a question that was asked today a couple ways, a couple times for people to try to get that information before they made a decision of whether or not they want to buy into the bundle sale. But ultimately, the bundle sale did sell out. It sold out relatively quickly. $23.99 USD option only, no UPX option there. So it was something that you did have to buy in with USD. For your $24, you get one Block Explorer, you get one map asset. That makes them $12 each in my math. And according to the current, secondary sale market, looking at something that has 360 total of the market. Again, breaking down to about 50, between 50 and 35 mints, depending on which of these the Block Explorers you're looking at these that are that are all at 60, because there's 6 at 60 here for map assets. We are looking at the $12 to $15 range, being on the higher side on some markets in the USD. So it wasn't a strong value, except for the fact that people really wanted to get into this gated opportunity to buy the cards, not knowing what the cards are going to cost, not knowing when the sale is going to be on the not knowing for sure on what the sale costs are going to be on the carts, knowing that there's going to be a registration that's going to happen on the 13th at 8 a.m. PT, knowing that we have an opportunity to have a screenshot or snapshot, I should say, that's going to happen on Monday. That snapshot on Monday, this coming Monday the 12th, is going to determine who has the opportunity to register. Those who register are going to be able to participate in the sale on next Wednesday, February 14th, 9 a.m. PT. And we have the update. Obviously, we didn't have the pricing earlier, but the pricing $35. So the cart USD only $35, and we have the dates. Again, the 13th is the registration. Sale date's the 14th, 9 a.m. PT. And this was not information that we had previously. We got this information today in the update when the update was done. Having the sale pricing, being able to see what's going on there, these carts, we kind of have a little bit of a different, potentially a different perspective here in this sale. Being a $35 sale for the carts, you got to burn 3 of them, 1 each. That makes the burn opportunity, assuming you get lucky, assuming you get 3 different ones, assuming you are able to swap if you get ones of the same, you're still looking at this being theoretically $105. My math is right there. $105 cost to get that truck, plus the time that goes into it, plus the fact that you had to get at least one map asset from this sale, whether you got them in the secondary or you bought them in primary. So we were likely looking at that being about $130 option to get one of these trucks, with the idea there's some time there and some effort and some unlikely or likelihood that you will not be able to buy all 3 of those carts on the primary. You're more than likely going to get kicked down the line, maybe get one, not get the others. Very likely that we're going to have people go in the secondary and seeing inflation, seeing the prices of these items on the secondary market go up. It's good for people who have showrooms. If you get one, if you have somebody who wants to sell through your showroom, they can sell through your showroom. If you want to buy one, and then you're not sure you want to actually do the burn, and you have a car showroom, you can put it in your car showroom. So all those things are great there. There's other ways for people to sell, to transact, to swap, to trade assets so that they can get one of these carts if that's what they choose to do so. And again, the goal here is that lifted truck. But the price point's pretty high. Since it was set in USD only, since there's not an UPX option, you compare it to other things, and you're looking at it being more than a lot of other trucks, and comparing to 1,000 to 1 in UPX to USD. We know that's not the way the economy generally works in Upland anymore, the 1,000 to 1. So people will have to compare that to what other things that are on the market in USD for trucks. And the one saving grace, as far as I'm concerned, for this truck, burning 3-to-1, or again, what is partially a saving grace of it is it's got better stats. It's got better stats than regular trucks. It is built more off-road, which is pretty cool. It gives us this hint, this wink, this potential that we may very well yet have off-road racing in the not so distant future. And that's kind of the wink here, the wink and the nod, is that they're giving you something that's really built for this off-road racing. We talked about utility for trucks or utility for vehicles coming up. Upland has a racing series, or they will be doing their own racing series here in each of these void areas. In between the end of one season and the start of another, they talked about having these events and these races, and it would be fun if they used one of these race series, maybe not this one, maybe the next one, or maybe it's this one coming up before Blossom season. They would use that to say, hey, here's our off-road event. Everyone has off-road stats on their vehicles. It would favor trucks, obviously. People would go and use their trucks, and if people have these off-road trucks, they have an even better advantage. That would be a pretty cool opportunity, a pretty cool thing for Upland to potentially do. Wink, wink, nod, nod, hint, hint. Upland, please do it. But take a look at these cards. So we have the Teeny Monsters monster truck. I'll go back and talk about the Teeny Monsters. Anyway, the Monsters Mayhem truck. So obviously the Monsters Mayhem side, we have a direct burn. These Monster Mayhems are the cards that are going to be for sale on Wednesday. They are $35 a piece. Keep that in mind. And you have to get one of each. These three look very similar to me. They get that blue skin. They get that purple hair. That hair is a little different than this hair. This hair is a little different than this hair. That's three different designs. You have to burn one of each, not two in one, not two of one and one of the other, and then one of the other, which is four. You're only going to get one truck. So be careful with these burn events. Okay, keep putting that out there, that these burn events are essentially know the math, do the math right, and get your reward. So keep that in mind. Let's burn this correctly. Let's get these trucks. And then there's this other truck, which is kind of cool. So this Tiny Monsters truck is saying, burn these here. These are part of the tiny cart sales. If I zoom right way in, I will see there's 30 of, and I gotta kind of zoom in even more because my eyes are getting old. Zoom in even more. I can see the actual number of these cards. This Boogle Walk, there's 30 of. This Gumble Guts, there is 50 of. This Noodle Fang, there is 10 of. We see a problem. I see a problem. What's the problem? You have to burn one of these, and one of these to get this beautiful truck, which means the truck is going to be limited by the number of the Noodle Fang right here. That guy is the most valuable piece of this sale. If I got this Noodle Fang on the primary market, I would probably expect to get more from it than the Grumble Guts, or the Google Walk, because I know they're more exclusive. I know that these 10 determine who gets a truck. And if I'm paying $35 for each of these, I get one of these and one of these, and there's only 10 of the Noodle Fang, it might be very difficult for me to get it. So that means it's going to compress that market. And if I don't get it myself, I'm going to be paying quite a bit on the secondary market to buy it. So this kind of does put this idea of this is going to be an expensive truck by the time people get it. On the other side down here, we have the Ghost, we have the Frankenstein, we have the Pumpkin. We have 20 of the Frankenstein, which is going to be the limiting because we have 80 pumpkins and 50 ghosts. Come down here. That means this guy right here, 1, 1, and 1. This is going to be limited by our Frankenstein, which means there's going to be 20 of these available. This whole contest where we had 300, or not contest, this whole event, this whole selling cycle with 360 bundles, 360 total bundles going out for these Monster Mayhem bundles where you get one Block Explorer and one map asset. It all sugars down to 30 trucks. And 30 trucks is ultimately what most people are most worried about. The trucks are the reason why people are taking advantage of the sales. In the first case, it's what people are looking at in the end here. And ultimately, hopefully people looked at these numbers ahead of time because that's the reality. And the pricing wasn't there before. It is here now. So we can say with confidence that truck, again, a minimum of $130, it looks like, for sales opportunities. But there's one other way to get in on this. Obviously, the Tiny Monster map assets were already sold. They were sold in the fall. They was part of the harvest season. this is the opportunity. This is one of the things that Upland has done to give utility to things that have been sold prior to them changing some of the rules of the game. Again, burning did not exist up until recently. In the harvest season, we had no concept of we're going to burn these or we're going to use these as gates to get into certain sales. But ultimately, if you had bought these map assets way back in the fall, they have an enhanced utility as they are gates into the sale. So not only are the people, all of us who went and bought a map asset today, or bought one of these bundles to get one of these map assets today, going to be in the position or in the running to get some of these cards. You also, the people who have the tiny monsters already, those serve as a gated entry, an opportunity to get in and register and be part of the sale. So very fun. Very fun. That's where we are. So realistically, this does give utility in a use case for there to be a very strong market over the next week. People trying to buy and sell these assets on the secondary to get one of these to be part of that screenshot. Obviously, for that snapshot, you only have to have one map asset. It is the map asset you need to hold on to. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. But then once you get into the sales, the noodle thing is going to rule the roost over here. On the cards, the Frankenstein is going to rule the roost. It's going to determine who ends up with trucks more than likely, because you're going to have the rare one, and then you can go and hopefully go and buy the ones that are less rare if you don't get them on primary market. Pretty simple, pretty easy. More or less, it is another thing that helps push the upland economy, player economy around. I appreciate that. It's just worth noting that this is a USD only sale. Some of the details were foggy up front. They weren't out clearly when we first got the sale information. And now that we have it, we kind of can see what the scale is and the reality. The reality that not everybody's going to be able to get one of these trucks, even if that's what they want. So pretty simple, pretty clear. Moving forward, we're going to see more of these sales. We're going to see more of these in USD only. That question, the big question that was on everyone's mind today, is this going to be an UPX sale for cards? Is it going to be an UPX auction? No UPX auction. USD. Come back up one more time. Wonderful sale. $35. Wednesday, the 14th, 9 a.m. PT is when that card's going to happen. That's it. That's for to get in for the cart sale, Mayhem cart sale. And there's our cards. That's what we're going to be getting. That's what we're going to be buying that sale. And again, you're limited by the mints here and here. Ultimately for 10 trucks and 20 trucks respectively. 10 trucks, 20 trucks, right there. With that in mind, we will look at a couple other things that are going through the weekend. First and foremost, we already talked about it a few times. This is the last one of the season. So the replica challenge. We've talked about the fact that you have to burn during the time period. We talked about the fact that there's no guarantee of prizes. You have to get top 10 on the two teams that are available for burns, and you got to do it inside the window. The window for the big game burn is February 8th, 9 a.m. PST to February 10th, 9 a.m. PST. So that is going to be a Thursday through Saturday event. A couple things to keep in mind. There's only two teams, so each team's going to have their own leaderboard. We have the 49ers. We have, sorry, my bad. In Upland, we have San Francisco team, and we also have the Kansas City team. Sorry about that. We have the San Francisco team with the Kansas City team. You have to burn burn legits of those two teams to earn points on the leaderboard. On the leaderboard, the top 10 are going to earn a replica. The replica is going to be of essentially the best player of the game, as determined by Upland, and that's what that memento is going to become. 10 versions of the replica. Those replicas are going to be distributed to top 10 on the leaderboard. Keep in mind two big things. In the divisional round, some of the teams had 30 plus burns up at the top. That means you're burning 30 legits in order to win. You could burn 15 and maybe not make the top 10. The number of burns that certain people do to get to secure themselves the replica, maybe even more than that. Just something worth thinking about. The burn is not a guarantee of a prize. The more you burn, the higher you're going to be on the leaderboard. What other people do will change the outcome of who wins what. And ultimately, there still is that option of that opportunity to be surprised. And that opportunity is that there is a delay in that information going out. That's worth noting. And then the second thing to keep in mind is that there is this additional opportunity where if you had burned the top player of the game, you would get additional points. You get 5 points for each essential burned of the top player of the game. So there's still that variable, even though there's a burn period where you can burn. The overall outcome of who wins and who doesn't, that's going to be determined after the game is completed. Monday, Tuesday, people will likely know, and the overall results will depend on who ends up being considered the best player of the game. Pretty simple, pretty easy. My opinion on this is I know people burnt a lot of replicas. Some people burnt replicas with no reward. If you have a bunch of legits, a bunch of NFLPA legits, and you're not in the position to want to do anything else with them other than burn them, congratulations. You have an opportunity to do so. If you burn the top 10 spots of the most players in upland of that team, you do have that opportunity to get a reward. So could be fun. People could enjoy it. I know people have enjoyed it. And people have told me, hey, this is a competition. I'm okay burning things. I'm okay being part of a competition, competing and taking a loss without a guarantee to win, so long as I have an opportunity to get there. If I rise to the top, if I go with it, like the cream, get to the top, I get the prize. If that's where you are, if that's what you want to do, good luck to you. Again, the burn period, to remind people, does close on Saturday at 9 a.m. PT, does open this Thursday 9 a.m. PT. A couple days open, and obviously not open during the big game, so don't wait till the big game to burn anything. Pretty simple. Looking forward to. Hey, there you are. Nice to see you, God, that you made it in. But always, of course, do want to put those reminders out that a burn is permanent in the game of Upwind. If you burn something, regardless of if you change your mind or not, it is gone. That's the same thing with these cart burns. And again, I do want to circle back. I have gotten a little harsh on these on this USD only sales, or at least highlighting the cost that's associated with them. But I do want to point out, I said it last night, say it one more time, this is a way that Upland's generating revenue. I understand that. I did like when the option was there for both an UPX side and a USD. I liked it. It was nice. It gave value to the UPX that I'm earning. Some of the UPX I'm earning, it's being done by flipping properties, so that's a choice. I buy properties in order to make a profit. People buy properties to sit on them to make a profit as well. So it's kind of rewarding people for deciding to go and buy properties in the game of Upland. But it is also something where this is a differentiated type of asset from properties. The idea that some types of assets are going to be sold more often directly in USD, the idea that we could have other ways that things get sold, like the ETH sale that we just had, it is not beyond reason and never has been that would be the case or could be the case. I expect just to leave it out there for thought and consideration long term that we will see more and more of these sales in USD first and USD only. What the secondary market chooses to do with these items afterwards, again, if the cost to acquire is 120 USD minimum, which it looks like the cost to acquire is 120 USD minimum to get in here, then the UPX market, when things get sold on the market in UPX, I would expect there to be a significant modifier from the USD to the UPX side. Not telling the market how to react, but I would expect there to be, whatever the rate is, whatever the conversion rate is, or the common conversion rate inside Upland. Again, different items have different conversion rates, different USD markets versus UPX markets. But I expect that if there was one, a coefficient, that coefficient, whatever it happens to be at the time, applied to that USD sales, seeing that being a few 100,000 or a couple 100,000 UPX cart, with the addition of the reality that it's very limited. It's more limited than there are people who are interested in it. Therefore, there's going to be some increase in value potentially because of the rarity. Uh, and I think that is a little bit of a performance bump on it. Like I said, it's a 92 or 96 on the off-road. So it is built to be very good on off-road, better so than other trucks. So it's kind of interesting to see that. And that I could see people enjoying this and having this and using this in races and getting better results because of it. And it looks cool. And it doesn't quite have monster truck tires, but it does have a lift kit. And the tires are a little larger than regular tires, and they are set a little wider than regular tires. So, it's 3/4 the way to a monster truck anyways. And I think that ultimately, with the wrap, with the light kits that's built into them, they do line up pretty well when you look at them with some of these more exclusive carts that are out there that people pay a lot of UPEX or a lot of UST to get, that people compete hard in contests to win. So I think that it is ultimately, is the juice worth the squeeze in this one? I think it is. If you entered this solely thinking you're going to get a cart, or solely thinking you're going to get a car at the end, unfortunately, there's not enough cars to go around. Unfortunately, there's not enough cars for everybody who bought this bundle sale today to end up with one of those off-road trucks. It is something definitely worth putting out there. Sorry, it's the way it is. I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes. It is a form of gamification. The one guy gets to buy, the other guy doesn't. Then we go into a marketplace and people buy from the marketplace and try to buy at the level that makes sense for them, that they can afford. And if the prices get too high, they stop buying it. Now they're short one of the carts, and now they don't get the truck. That's part of what Upland has set this game condition up as. But would love to see possibly a couple more supplies on these. Would have loved to see a greater advertising up front, letting everybody know what the costs were going to be. I know people had asked, hey, can we please get a confirmation on cost before the sale happens? Really want to see that. I know it was delayed in coming out. I know the version that was out yesterday did not have it. So at least we have the answer now. With and moving into next week, we don't know for sure what's going to happen, other than the fact that by the time we get to Tuesday of next week, all the cycles, every single cycle, by the end of the day, Tuesday or into the day Wednesday, depending on where you're in the world, all the cycles for totems will have expired. Again, if you still have totems that are alive, keep pushing, because I've seen that some of the totems, even if they started to drop off in their payout, they've come back up. Things like the Dragonfly came back up at the end of the month. They recycled up. So you do have that opportunity to make some of your best profits by continue on to the very last days of the month. And then take a deep breath, because we don't know how soon the next cycle is going to start. We also know we have a couple other things happening later in this Q2. Later in Q1. Before we get to Q2, we are almost halfway through. We'll be moving next week into halfway through Q1 with cars as transportation still coming. Next week we have Trenton and Stockton as well. We have, as we've discussed earlier in the week, we have a sale of terminals next week. Trenton and Stockton, primarily FSA cities. We've talked about those. And we can take a look at them again next week before we actually have things hit on those cities. But again, reminder is that they're out there. The announcement's out. We've reviewed it early in the week. And then, of course, as we get into this sale next week, those who get the car, get the carts, are going to get the car on the burn event. We don't have the burn event information yet, but we do now know what we're burning, what the costs are going to be, and how we're going to acquire those next week. Into next week as well. I do want to put another flag out there on a couple other things that are coming out for development. We know some of the UGC stuff was frozen, including some of the applications for some of the meta-ventures that are out there. With that in mind, keeping that in mind, look forward to those opening up here in the next several weeks. And we're working on getting a couple things in as far as more information from the team on a couple of those things as they come out in the next couple of weeks. For tonight, thank you so much for joining. Thanks for being here. I did see a couple things about excitement about the monster trucks again. It is something that a lot of people said, I like the idea of having a little bit better souped up truck. People always feel that way when we have a cool car, a new version of a car. But it's on my side, it's just a little bit with where the costs are, with how limited these are, it just feels a little less exciting than I thought it was yesterday, or some people hoped it would be yesterday. But that was the flag on the play, as it was, as we didn't have all the details. Now we do. Again, thank you so much for being here. As always, if you are in Discord, I always like to put that out there. If you're in Discord, please feel free to unmute your mics. The floor is yours.